So, I recently discovered tie-dye as a hobby, and these are my first high-quality Dharma colors, which I ordered via the online shop webetante.com. I got 4 large 8-ounce cans of the primary colors turquoise, red fuchsia, lemon yellow and raven black, and 14 50-gram cans of in-between colors that I selected so they spread over the full color range pretty evenly. I had thought about getting only the 4 large cans and mixing everything else myself. This sounds fun and should work fine in theory, but I wasn't sure how well it would work in practice, which is basically the reason why I'm making this video now. It took me a bit of thinking to come up with a good setup for this experiment, and what I ended up on is this color triangle. Each dot stands for a color I'm going to mix, which are 28 different colors overall. On the corners are the pure primary colors, and in between are all possible 6-part mixtures of them. On each dot, the 3 lines that cross there determine the mixture ratio. For example, this dot has 2 parts of turquoise, aka cyan, 4 parts of magenta, aka fuchsia red, and 0 parts of yellow, which should result in something like purple. This dot has 1 part of cyan, 2 parts of magenta, and 3 parts of yellow, which should become some kind of orangey brown. I got these little plastic cups to mix the inks, 1 cup for each dot. For preparing the primary inks, I used the amounts given in the color-specific yield table by Dharma. For 100 ml of ink, I used 7.6 gram of turquoise dye, 5.5 gram of fuchsia dye, and 2.7 gram of lemon yellow dye, respectively. Dharma also recommends 1 cup of urea per gallon of ink, but I hadn't been able to find urea powder for an acceptable price, so instead I used AdBlue, aka diesel exhaust fuel. This is just 32.5% urea dissolved in water and can be bought at every gas station. To reach the concentration recommended by Dharma, I added 10 ml of AdBlue to 90 ml of water in each bottle and gave them a good shake. I then carefully added the required amounts of each primary ink to every cup, going by 1 part equals 1 milliliter, which amounted to 6 ml of ink per cup. Most of the colors looked very dark, so I got a bit worried that the cyan was too dominant, but I had hoped that on fabric this would be a little different. I sacrificed one of my brand new white cotton shirts to be sure to use the same fabric as in actual projects. I cut a triangle out of it, added rough markings on the edges and gave it a quick wash in hot water with a tad of detergent, just to get rid of any potential manufacturing residues. I rinsed it thoroughly, then placed it in a bowl, covered it with 300 ml of lukewarm water, added 21 gram of soda ash and let it soak there for 15 minutes. I then wrung it out as hard as I could, placed it on a cut open trash bag and added a small amount of each ink to the designated spots. Because everything still looked kinda dark, I ended up mixing 3 more colors. 1 with 11 parts yellow and 1 part cyan, 1 with 11 parts yellow and 1 part magenta, and 1 with 10 parts yellow, 1 part cyan and 1 part magenta. I covered everything with the other half of the trash bag, put the kitchen towel on top to weigh it down a bit, and let it set for about 20 hours. After that, I rinsed the pieces under cold water, then hand washed them with hot water and detergent for 10 minutes until the water stayed completely clear. I hung them on the radiator, and when they were completely dry, I put the 3 bonus colors at the correct spots and had a closer look at them. The 3 color mixtures towards the middle of the triangle were all rather muddy and freckled, but the 2 color mixtures along the outer edges looked great. Maybe for darker tones the way to go is to add a bit of black to the 2 color mixtures instead, I'm not sure. But anyway, tie-dyeing exclusively with primaries seems absolutely possible, and in hindsight I would have only gotten the 4 large cans for sure. Just one last thing to keep in mind in case you want to exactly replicate some of these colors. My mixture ratios are based on the weight of the already prepared inks and not on the weight of the dye powder, so if you're mixing powders directly, make sure to adjust the ratios accordingly. Alright, please give me a thumbs up if you found this video useful. Thanks for watching and have a nice day.